um, People knew about this place already from the end of the 19th century. A German guy that was an amateur archaeologist dug a little bit around here and found some ruins, and they connected them to one of the Jewish towns that were on Golan Heights. But only after 67, the 6 Days War, when Israel conquered the Golan Heights, that was in the hands of the Syrians, only after that, the Israelis came up to the Golan and started to dig seriously and found everything we're going to see around. Since ruins of towns we find all over, there's nothing special about the houses of this particular town. The coolest thing to see here is the synagogue that we will see later. But since they excavated and found so many things here, they decided to rebuild a house or two to give tourists the opportunity to see how did the people live in those times. Basically, you saw something similar to that in the Nazareth village. A little different time period, maybe a few changes here and there, but basically not too much. The stone is different. Nazareth village is all limestone. Here they had to work harder because they only had the basalt stone. Right here, they just show you how they built the house. Nothing much to say about this. You can look around and realize the idea of building. By the way, the wall is pretty thick, and on the outside it is very nice and smooth. They chisel the stones to make them look nice, both from the inside and outside. But between two stones, they placed lots of smaller ones. You can see it right here. So the wall is thick, but not the whole wall is stones that you have to chisel and work on. You just put two on the sides and then fill it up with regular stones. Save money and time. So that's a little bit about here, and now I need to welcome you to the house. Now this is the house itself, of course, where people live. Couple of things. At the entrance, in the outside, there was an option for storing some stuff, shoes or things like that before entering the house. The first room in the house is the kitchen. Over there, you can cook. Behind this wall, there is the storeroom. Keep your tools, food, and stuff like that inside the house. Where most of us stand, that's the living room. This is where the family lived. A table over there. Things could have been put up lower than brought up, saving place.
Cool.
And this is also where the kids are sleeping. Guests and kids, there are places to sit, and later on when nobody is home, no guests, and you can arrange beds either here or over there. If the parents want or need privacy, they have their own room upstairs. Second floor, the parent place. The ladder is the way to get there. You can also get it in from the open courtyard on the other side that we're going to go next. That's it. That's where people lived and how they lived. In the house, lots of activities are outside, not inside unless there is rain or too much sun, or in the evening. Light is with lamps, like the one up here, I don't know how many you can see. Clay lamps filled up with olive oil, and that you light the edge and it gives light. Few options in the corners of the room, also of course in the other rooms. So at night you're inside, there's rain or too much sun, but as much as possible you're not living in the house, you're working outside, living outside. And we'll go outside to see some more of that. You can use the door or you can climb to the parents' area, but don't stay too long. The outside part of the house, still part of the house, belongs to the same family. Right here again, you can cook when it's not too problematic. Probably lifeless animals. Maybe there is a cow to the family, some chickens, maybe a goat, something like that. All that activity goes on here outside. That's it. Any questions?
The Talmudic village of Katzrin. Katzrin is one of the 25 Jewish communities dating from the 2nd to the 8th centuries found here on the Golan Heights. The main source of income for the inhabitants of Katzrin relied on olive oil production and its export to foreign countries, mainly Syria. Between the 6th and the 8th centuries, as a result of lack of security on the trade routes, epidemics in the region, and an earthquake that hit the area in the year 749 CE, the village was abandoned. Later on, and until the 20th century, meager and temporary settlements of Muslims existed. In the entrance to the park, near the oil press, you can see 2 stone houses that belonged to Bedouins who left the town in 1967. In front of you stands the synagogue that was found after the Six-Day War in 1967. Intensive archaeological research was led all over the Golan, during which the synagogue was exposed and partially restored. The synagogue served as the main public building of the village. Its walls were built of carved hewn stones that interconnect flawlessly with each other. The community had the financial ability and the desire to invest much in this building. Researchers estimate the cost of the synagogue by today's standards would cost millions of shekels. On the lintel above the entrance to the synagogue are beautifully engraved ornaments of
We'll see that when we get there.
jug and pomegranates. Inside the hall are 2 rows of columns
You can see
that
them from
once
here.
supported a tiled roof.
Yeah.
Around the perimeter of the hall, the stone stairs provided sitting space for the worshippers. The Holy Ark was located on a high ledge close to the southern wall of the synagogue, in the direction of Jerusalem. The synagogue had a second floor, where the windows provided light and ventilation. The entire building was remarkably high and visible throughout the village. The synagogue was used as a cultural center for the community. Here the people gathered for prayer, study, Torah reading, and discussions of daily affairs. Please, while touring the synagogue, remember that it is a holy site. To the left of you is the house of Rabbi Abun. This building has been restored to depict a fine example of a typical family home during the Talmudic period. The house was named after a gravestone found here with the carved Hebrew inscription reading, Rabbi Abun rests in peace. The gravestone is on display at the Golan Antiquities Museum in Katzrin. Inside the house you can see the ovens in the kitchen. Notice the unique engineering structure of the ceiling. As you continue through the house, you will pass the living room. During the day, this room was used for eating and hosting, and at night as a bedroom for the children. From the living room, a ladder leads to the upstairs room that served as the parents' bedroom. The yard outside was used for raising domestic animals such as chickens, sheep, goats, and pigeons. In front of Rabbi Abun's house stands the Uzi house. This house demonstrates building techniques that were common during this period of time. You can see the scaffolding where building materials were laid and the tools that were used by the stonecutters and builders. Below us stands the local spring, from where the residents pumped water. Daily social activities centered around this spring, such as washing clothes, drawing water, and bathing. The spring was of enormous importance because the amount of water it was able to supply determined the size of the village. Researchers estimate the village had a population of about 70 families. Follow with your eyes the road that goes from the spring to the synagogue. To the right of this street was the marketplace, and here the commercial activity of the village took place. In front of the synagogue stands an impressive oak tree. According to the growth rings around its trunk, this oak tree is estimated to be over 400 years old. This oak tree is mentioned in various travelers' books over the last hundreds of years. While visiting the park, don't miss the building that hosts the Talmudic experience located down the path directly behind you. The management of the ancient...
Again? Let's run before they start. Pretty impressive building. About 1600 years ago it was built. Of course, it's not as shining as it was when it was just built. Also, the walls are built from the basalt stone. It's a much harder stone to work with than, let's say, the limestone. When you chisel and make symbols, drawings on the stone, one mistake and you have to start again. It's very hard to fix. Limestone is easier. So, as they said in the voice thing, a lot of money. A lot of money, millions in today's terms. The synagogue faces south, that's towards Jerusalem, as she said, and that's, by the way, how Jews pray till today. You always, if you live in America, you will face the area, the direction of the land of Israel. If you live in Israel, you will direct your prayers towards Jerusalem. What do people in Jerusalem do? Which direction do they pray?
Temple.
That's the Temple Mount. Found. The columns were on the ground. The city was destroyed by an earthquake. Something like that, you have a problem to survive standing. This is restoration that was done later, but gives us the idea of the sizes, the height, and the beauty of the synagogue. Second floor. Nobody knows if it covered the whole building. On the second floor, only part of it. In many synagogues, till today, the second floor will use for the women. In Judaism, in the Orthodox Judaism, prayer time, there is a separation between the men and the women. And the women have their own section, which will always be smaller and far away. At least higher or in the side corner. So probably second floor maybe for the women. There's another room behind with a door over there. Again, we don't really know what it was used for. And one option is that it's like a school to teach the kids about the Bible, about talking about Old Testament. If you want, maybe something like a Sunday school, only Saturday school, something like that. The whole community sits around. That makes us a community. Everybody can see everybody more or less, and you're not only praying, but also meeting as a community. I said it's the center, and people are coming here for prayers, but also as a community gathering. That's it.